So Trent, you're a digital forensic examiner with Cyber Agents Inc., right?
That's correct.
What is a digital forensic examiner?
We are hired by defense attorneys or attorneys in general to find out what happened on a particular device. So we can analyze phones, computers, and anything that contains digital information which is relevant to their case.
So as a digital forensic examiner, you're able to get into a device, whether it's a computer or a phone, and see what the heck's going on, right?
Exactly. We will analyze the device to figure out what happened on the device at a particular time, and then use that to find out whether or not the elements of a particular crime are met in the criminal side.
I'll tell you, as a military defense lawyer, and I've done it for a long time, one of the things that I've seen as a trend recently is this phenomenon of fake text messages. Have you seen that in your practice?
Absolutely.
Well, what is a fake text message?
It can mean a number of different things, but what it basically means at its most basic is that the messages that we're seeing that were provided to the government aren't accurate. And they can be fake in a number of ways.
Right. And so what normally happens in my cases is I've got the government prosecutor coming to me with a screenshot of a text message that says, hey, see, this is what your client said, therefore, he's guilty of this. And that always brings up issues for me, because why is it a screenshot versus an extraction of that phone?
Right. It almost, as a forensic examiner, I want to see the extraction. I want to see as much data as possible.
There are actually programs out there, applications, where you can generate fake text messages, right? Whether it's WhatsApp or Snapchat, you just log in, you pay your fee, and it looks identical to something you'd have in your phone. Is that right?
That's correct. Also, they don't have to cost any money. They can be free and still look very good and convincing.
I guess there are other ways that you could create these fake text messages. Is it possible to just change the name of a contact on your phone? Like, you and I have a conversation. I want to make it look like it was someone else. I just go in and change the name and phone number. Can I do that?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Have you seen that in your practice?
Yes.
What is sender ID spoofing?
So there's a program called Spoof Card, which is the most popular. And what it does is it allows me to send a message as someone else. So I can send a text message to your phone pretending to be a different individual, and it will show up on your phone as having come from someone else.
Is it also possible to change the time and dates or locales on your phone?
Depending on the phone, yes.
Is there such a thing as being able to unsend or delete a message on your phone?
Yes. So individuals have control over what is contained on their device. So in a conversation between two parties, both parties will have the messages. If we see a complete conversation, then the text messages can be recovered from one party or the other. But to verify, we need to see both sides of the conversation, and they should be the same. If one of the two users deletes one of the messages, then only that user's message will be missing, and the other party will still other's phone will still contain the message.
So I guess if we really want to know the ground truth of a text message exchange, we're going to need the extraction of both devices.
Yes.
Okay, is it difficult to extract a device?
No.
How would one do that?
So you can contact us as forensic examiners, and we have tools which will allow us to extract the device.
I guess if a lawyer wants to challenge the authenticity of a text message, I guess there's some steps they should take, like a preservation request perhaps to the service provider.
The service provider keeps information about calls that are made or SMS messages that are made, and data about where the phone was which towers that phone connected to. It does not keep on modern devices, let's say they're two iPhones, it doesn't keep when those messages were sent or received. It only keeps the data that was transferred, because instead of being an SMS, which is a different data type according to the carrier, it's just data. And so the data we're seeing could be Spotify, or could be someone browsing the web, or it could be someone sending a message. But we have no idea. The carrier is not going to know what activity we're doing on the phone at the time.
All right, so the only way to really determine the accuracy of these text messages is to extract both phones.
That's correct.
Now, there are two types of main phones, right? There's the Apple, which is iOS, and there's the Android, correct?
Yes.
Okay, is there any difference between those devices?
Absolutely. The operating system is different. That's why we call them Apple devices run iOS, and Android devices run Android OS.
Does operating one of those phones make it easier to fake text messages?
Yes.
Which phone is easier to fake a text message?
Android devices. Because the operating system allows direct access to the database which contains the messages. So on an iPhone, that is sms.db, and on an Android, that is mms.sms.db. And on an Android, apps can have direct access to that database, which means they can manipulate the data within that database. And so completely fraudulent messages can be created, messages can be edited.
Wait a minute, messages can be edited. So I can send you a text message that says, come meet me for lunch at 12. And then I can send that to you, and then I can edit that to say, why did you whip my ass at 12? And I could save that. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. And when I take a screenshot, it's going to look like what I edited that Android device through the database to say, correct?
Yes.
And even if you look at my phone, how would you know that I edited that text message?
Generally, we would look for evidence of apps which can manipulate the MMS SMS.db. So a user can't hide the fact that they downloaded an app. The app they used to make that modification to the database would still be on the device. And even if they had deleted it, the remnants of that particular app would likely still be on the device. And it's very likely we would be able to tell that someone had text message manipulation software. Now, we can't figure out what particular messages have been edited. Just that there's an application on there that allows the editing of text messages.
All right, so it sounds to me like if you got an Android device, somebody can go in there and edit it, and you're not going to know what that original message was unless you have the other device.
That's correct. There are potentially some ways we could find that data from the Android device itself. So there's a database, I think it's called Firebase messaging, which allows us to find incoming messages on Android phones. And that will not be edited if you edit the text message. But the data in that database doesn't last forever, and it only runs off after a little while. So unless the message was recent, there might not be evidence of what the original message contained.
Okay.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
There is potentially evidence, because on an Android device, you can go back and look at the content of your notifications. The content of the notification might also contain what that original message said. And so I don't know how long that lasts off the top of my head, but we can find old notifications that say you got a text message that said this from this person.
Okay, understood. So, for instance, we mentioned changing the contact name earlier, right? If I were to change a contact name and I just added a name, but it's not in my stored contacts, that would be an indication that I'm manipulating the data.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. What other kind of indicators would show that a text message has been manipulated or faked?
Well, those are the main things I would look for. I don't think there's a whole lot else, because without having something to compare it to, a single device, I can't say for certainty whether messages were edited or not on Android devices. But if I have a second device, then I can improve the likelihood that one is more likely than the other based on whether they have the text message editing apps installed in their device.
All right, and I suppose if somebody had reinstalled an app or an OS migration after the alleged text messages, that would be indicative of them trying to change or manipulate data.
Not necessarily.
Okay, what would that be?
So if someone updates their device, that's not necessarily nefarious. I can't draw any conclusions based on the fact that an operating system has been updated.
Would that change the underlying data at all?
No, because the database, when the update for the OS occurs, the underlying database, either sms.db or mms.sms.db, would not necessarily be updated by an OS update.
Do screenshots also match the device artifacts?
They can, but the device artifacts need to be verified.
Okay, and how would you verify them?
By taking an extraction of the device and then doing an analysis.
Okay. So it sounds to me like if you want to know whether or not these text messages are real or fake, you're going to have to get an extraction of either the sender's phone or the receiver's phone, or ideally both.
Correct.
If you're facing charges or allegations that are resulting from false, fake, or fraudulent text messages, give us a call. We're the law office of Will M. Helixon. We are your warrior advocates. You defend the nation, we defend you.